Good morning, my friends. How are you? Welcome to another edition of Behind the Mic with me, Mike Avery, here in the Outdoor Magazine radio studio. How are you this morning? Feels like, at least in my part of the world here, it feels like something's going to happen weather wise. I'm no meteorologist. I do think the forecast is calling for a storm coming in, but for the last few days, it's felt really cold and damp. Hey, good morning, buddy. How are you? Craig, I did get your email. I don't know if you got my response. You bring up some very, very good points. Is something I will take a look at more in depth when I get here out of the studio. But I understand what you're saying. You heard the conversation. You heard the interview. You heard the response. Lost Glove. Good morning, Mike. How are things in Arizona? Corey. Corey, was that you I saw in the gym the other day? That was you, wasn't it? Johnny Bowler, good morning, buddy. How are you? Mike, congrats on the elk. It was nice to see you at Wednesday Night Live last weekend. Congrats on the big cow. Davina, it was wonderful to finally meet you at Dixie Dave's last week. That was a fun night, wasn't it? That was a lot of fun. Bernie, buddy, how are you? As always, nice to have you along with us. And Robert's with us this morning as well. Again, my name is Mike Avery. This is Behind the Mic. Kara and Brian, I don't recognize your names. Glad to have you along with us. Appreciate you joining us. I think I might have said Wednesday Night Live. This is Behind the Mic. We did a Wednesday Night Live last week at Dixie Dave's restaurant. We sent him off with a big party. Brent was there. Brent, nice to have you along with us this morning, buddy. Brent was there along with our mutual friend Ross Elliott. Brent, by the way, I saw Ross at the Lumberjack Friday night. Ask him to tell you about that. Davina says the drive home was a lot better. Took us an hour less. Well, I was glad you guys could make it, Davina. It was nice to meet you, and it was just nice to have you along with us. That was a lot of fun. Good morning, Ed. How are you, buddy? How are things in the North Country? Corey, again, I'll ask you. Good morning, Corey. Was that you at the gym? I felt like after we talked, I went, hey, that was Corey. Johnny says, still not much snow, maybe tomorrow. Good morning, Larry. Nice to have you along with us over on YouTube. Johnny with no snow. Randy Iamurray. Are you still out there fishing, Randy? It was you. All right, Corey. I appreciate that. Sorry I didn't make that connection earlier. I apologize. Cliff, good morning. I did the same thing to another guy who will probably be with us this morning. And he said we ran into each other at the car wash, and I didn't put two and two together. Davina's daughter said the food was excellent. Why did you never go there before? That's a good question, Davina. Now you're out of time. Well, almost out of time because Dixie Dave is closing down the restaurant. New Year's Eve is their last night to be in business. I am very, very happy for Dixie Dave and his wife, Terry. Brent says a bunch of boats on the river this morning. I bet, because just before this storm coming in, there's no wind. Right now would be a great morning to be on the river, and they're knocking the snot out of fish in the river and on the bay. And it'll be interesting next spring when the river doesn't close. Ross says, my daughter's elk hunt went better than we could have dreamed. She shot a 6x7, 15 minutes after shooting lights. Ross, send me a picture. I want to post it on the Facebook page. I haven't seen that picture yet. Brandon says the walleye are on fire on Lake St. Clair. From the mouth of the Detroit River to Harley Answer launch, 10 to 12 feet of water. Bandits have been the ticket. Excellent, Brandon. Appreciate that fishing report. Walleye on fire on the Saginaw River, Saginaw Bay as well. You did the messenger. I'm sorry, Ross. I did not see it. Will you please send it to me in an email? Mike at MikeAveryOutdoors.com, Mike at MikeAveryOutdoors.com. Unless you sent that this morning, then I might not have seen it. But please feel free to resend that. I'd love to post that picture. Hey, Jeff, how are you doing, buddy? Jeff says, wonder how the hunting was across the UP for others. It was terrible for them this year. Wolves are still there, as we saw. Jason, I have not. The other day. Okay, Ross. In fact, I had high hopes. Sunday, we've been real busy with a lot of family things, and that's good, right? Family things, work things, and some church things too. All good things. but I haven't been able to get out. I had high hopes. I was planning on getting out Sunday night. Went to church Sunday morning, stopped by Costco on the way back, our usual Sunday ritual. On the way home from Costco to our house, which is only a couple miles, it felt like the wheel fell off my truck. It was a grinding noise and I couldn't steer it. Turned out the upper ball joint broke off. If you've ever had that happen, and I never have, it makes your vehicle undrivable. The good thing about that is that it came off in town at a slow speed. I mean, we had been driving south from up north Saturday night, 75 miles an hour on the freeway. What if it would have happened then in the dark, late at night at 75 miles an hour in the middle of nowhere? God was watching out for me. If it was going to happen, it happened right there in town. But it prevented me from going hunting. So to answer your question, I still don't have my doe yet. And the next time I can get out now is Friday night. Muzzleloader's over, I think, Ed. I think. Hey, Ross, good morning, buddy. It was nice to see you Friday night. Don't ever remember that phone call you made the next day. You never have to make that phone call with me. I promise you that. Hey, John, good morning. How are you, buddy? I thought you were going to show up for Wednesday Night Live. I was looking forward to seeing you. And maybe you didn't say that. Something just made me think so. But John Sullivan of Lure Lipstick, lurelipstick.com. Muzzleloader was over as of Sunday. That's what I thought, Corey. It ended Sunday night. Randy, good morning from Western North Carolina. Going after some big spawning brown today. Have fun, Randy. Good morning, Louie. Mike, good gun club in the Tri-City area that also has an archery range. Saginaw Field and Stream Club. Corey says right now it's doe only on private land. And where you hunt where we do, Corey, you can use a 350 or 450. I appreciate that, Ross. Actually, we called James. It worked out great. I mean, we were right in town. It worked out great. James came over. He picked up the groceries from Costco, gave us a doctor infection. Yeah, sorry to hear that, John. Sorry to hear that. So it worked out great. Like I said, it could have been. I've been driving 50 years. A lot of different vehicles, including a lot of clunkers and old junkers when I was younger. And it never happened to me. I got a 2021 Silverado when it happened. I'm not saying that's the fault of the truck. The guys at Garber says it's just one of those things. You can't predict it. You don't know it's coming. You can't prevent it. It's just one of those things that happen. And thank God it happened there in town. I'll get to it, Davina. Tim, good morning. There's Jim right there. I'm sorry to hear that, Jim. I saw your name on a table there and I thought, oh, I hope nothing happened. I hope everything's all right, Jim. I hope everything's all right. I'm going to go back to our lease property, Corey, and use my 350 Legend from Brenton. It's a matter of principle at this point. It's just a matter of principle. It's just like, I'm going to kill a doe on that lease property. Good morning, Tim. How are you? Oh, okay. Johnny says he's had that happen. Not sure what caused it other than bear baiting. Well, I wasn't doing any bear baiting with my truck, and it was not a good thing, and it prevented me from hunting Sunday night, but it was a good thing that it happened in town at about 35 miles an hour. Could have been a lot worse. But it makes me nervous now. Tim says we're hitting Clark's Hill Lake tomorrow for stripers and hybrids. Oh, man, you guys down there in the South, you got some great fishing, Tim. Please do, Johnny. I'll send you a picture of my broken upper ball joint. I got out and I looked at the truck. It's like, that's not right. Did my lug nuts come undone? Did the wheel come off? Did the tire come off? No, the whole wheel went bang. 52,000 miles, Ed. Thank you, Chris. Good luck on that late doe season. 2 weeks ago, I'm like, I got plenty of time. But I'll tell you what, time is not my friend right now. A lot of things going on right now. Corey says, after connecting with the big one in Missouri, plan to hit Ohio for the muzzleloader season. Good luck, Corey. You're welcome. Mike, it's hump day. Let me tell you, because Davina wants to know who's on the Outdoor Magazine radio show this week. In fact, Josh Mapes right there is one of them. We'll start out the show talking with Chad Stewart. I had I had planned to talk with somebody else about the Michigan elk herd and the late elk season. That person was sick and can't make it this morning. So Chad Stewart's going to join me to talk about Michigan elk. Johnny says, wait, I thought we were fixing the damn roads. Johnny, not to get too political here, but that woman ran on the platform of fixing the roads. She didn't fix the roads, and she almost destroyed the state during COVID, and we still voted her back in office. Shame on us. Chad Stewart talks about the Michigan elk herd, then Paul Perone of VersaSkins. If you want to buy VersaSkins, now's the time. 40% off. Elliot Schaefer of the Michigan Wildlife Council wraps up the first hour. In hour number 2, we're talking with Tim Roller about late season hunting and then also steelhead fishing. Nick Green, I think of MUCC, is going to join us. I haven't heard back from Nick. Ooh, I might have to fill that spot with Tim Roller, which would be fine. And then Josh Mapes talks about predator hunting. And we wrap it all up with Chef Dixie Dave Miner. There is no new consent decree negotiation. It's a continuation of, we didn't speak for yourself. They did. Somebody did. It wasn't me. I'll promise you that. There is no new consent decree negotiation settlement. We're working under the old one for now. Jim says she promised not to tax his pension, and she did it anyway. And we/somebody voted her back in office. I don't get that. Davina says it was her dead relatives. You're a smart lady, Davina. Yeah, I don't know. Doing the same thing over and over and getting the same results, right? I just realized Nick Green did not respond to me. Let me send him another text. I am getting no response from him. Let me send Tim another text here. Might have to keep you on for a third segment if okay. Unless Nick Green, can we give Detroit to Canada? All right, Johnny, I got to get back to the work. Hopefully a little more than 5 inches of snow. Yep, Cliff. Six Nations tribe. I've been trying to follow the consent decree negotiations as good as I could. I agree, John. It'd be nice if people sent them to me and I could post them too. Davina said she'd be Canadian, eh? And what's happening with the consent decree negotiations is it appears, and I haven't been involved in these negotiations, obviously, but it appears from the outside that the DNR in the state of Michigan is not helping out sport fishermen at this point. Now, I found it interesting last week when I had the head of the Coalition to Protect Michigan Resources, who has been intimately involved in this. Scott got my attention. If you need somebody today, I can tell you about how great the fall walleye been, and you continue to miss out. I do. And Scott, I talked to somebody in the restaurant Sunday morning. They are there not as part of the negotiations, but they are there as observers. Scott, who bought one of my former Angler Quest boats, Scott, I talked with another couple who bought one of my previous Angler Quest boats. They just happened to be at the restaurant Sunday morning after church, and they've been throwing back anything over 6 pounds. So I spend all summer long chasing 15 to 18-inch fish, and now people are out there throwing back 6-pound fish. And actually, Scott, I can tell you where they're fishing. They're fishing my honey hole right now. I don't know anything about that. What do you think about Shannon Lott taking over his DNR directorship? Don't know a thing about it. Craig, is that happening? Is it being rumored? I for one thing, I don't know who Shannon Lott is, and I didn't know that the DNR directorship was up for grabs. Gabe, what are we talking about in Manistee and Lake Michigan? The consent decree. Ross says if you want, we can get him on to talk about bear hunting with Johnny Bowler. I could talk about that. Michigan Outdoor News. When, Josh? Because I have seen the consent decree documents that have now been released. And it was my understanding we just continue to work under the previous one. Okay, maybe not. Ruben, how are things in Colorado? John, good morning. How are you, buddy? How are things at CMU? What else? I want to talk about hunting. I want to talk about elk hunting. One last final exam and you're done. We'll get off Facebook and go study. Hey, Charlie, how are you?
Good morning. Well, how are you?
Good. Josh, just last week, I think, I don't know who she thought, but I thought front page taking over something. Shannon Lott. Let me do a quick search here. Shannon Lott, Michigan DNR, Deputy Director. Now, Natural Resources, Michigan Department of Natural Resources, Conservation Organization chart. Craig, I don't know anything about that. December 2nd, 2022, Governor Whitmer announces change in cabinet agency leadership. Oh, Eichinger is going to the Department of Environment? I didn't know anything about this, guys. Governor has selected Dan Eichinger as acting director as the Department of Environment, Eagle. And Shannon Lott as acting director of the DNR. I didn't know a thing about that. I did not, and that was December 2nd. I did not know a thing about that. That's why I need to get Nick Green on the show this morning. Didn't know a thing about that. Huh. That's very interesting. Wow. Sending another text. Huh. No kidding. Wow. See, you guys are my eyes and ears. Hey, I can't be everything. I can't be all things to all people. I can only try to be something to my people. Huh. DNR director change timing is very interesting. Okay, Nick's going to be on. Excellent. I'll give him a thumbs up and I'll tell Tim disregard. Wow. Good morning, Sam. How are you? Can't believe that I didn't know about that. I don't disagree with you there, Tim. Wow. Well, it gives me something more to talk about. on the show. What do you got, Johnny? Yep. Yep. That's what mine looked like, Johnny. Yeah. John is referring to the conversation with, I can't think of his name. 2 minutes. Hey, Charlie, I did send an email. Later in the show, we got one spot to replace. We can do it. Oh,
I put it in first hour break.
Charlie Rude is the man. With everything else you've got going on, you still got that done, Charlie.
Found a way.
Outstanding. We got a new spot in the show this week. This is for the big Ultimate Fishing Show, Detroit and Novi, coming up just after the first of the year. We're starting to run those spots already. Podcast version of the show, isn't it nice that's out there? Oh, what else here? Got my tickets. You going, Mike, to the Ultimate Fishing Show, Detroit? We'll see. 1 minute. Okay, in 1 minute, I'm going to change my focus, my friends, from chatting with you and actually having you inform me about some big outdoor news that I should have known about. The move of Dan Eichinger over to Eagle from DNR, which honestly I knew nothing about. I'll be honest with you. I try to avoid the news as much as I can. There's really nothing good I want to listen to. Oh, Scott, prayers for Blake. I appreciate you letting me know about that. Let me know how it goes, will you? 20 seconds, Charlie says. 15 seconds. Yeah, the podcast. There's nice to know there's a podcast version of the radio show. Well, I hope you did too, Charlie. If not, we're going to find out.
And now.
Blast off.
Okay, it's right. She said, I'm a monitor. Oh, here we go. Here's the monitor.
There we go.
It was running.
All right, my friends. Thanks for letting me know about Dan Eichinger and Shannon Lott. I was completely ignorant to that. We will do a Wednesday night live tonight. We'll give away another Michigan brand ham for the holidays. I hope you can join me. Ross, have a good day, buddy. I will not be able to answer your questions directly as I have been, or have you inform me of information as you just did. Talk to you later, my friends. Well, thank you, Ken Hunter, for that introduction, and welcome to another edition of the Outdoor Magazine radio show right here on the Outdoor Magazine radio network on more than 30 radio stations across the great state of Michigan. How are you? What have you been up to? Have you done anything fun? Have you been outdoors? Have you been in the woods? Have you been on the water? I can't say have you been on the ice, because I put out a call last week. I said, hey, those of you in the North Country, those of you driving around, have you seen any ice yet? And I talked to a couple of people, said, no, we've been driving all across the Yup and we haven't seen any fishable ice yet at all. So I can't say, have you been on the ice? But I can say, have you been in the field? Have you been in the woods? Have you been on the water? Have you been doing anything fun here in our great state of Michigan? I, unfortunately, once again, have not. Man, I had high hopes of getting out hunting. 2 weeks ago, I said, well, I got lots of time. And I'll be able to get out and, do some late season hunting. But then things kept getting in the way. Life, you know how it goes, right? Last week, I was all set. I was going to hunt Sunday evening. I was going to go out to the lease property. I was going to sit in that Wraith 270 see-through ground line over one of our food plots. And I was going to hope and pray that a big old doe was going to come in there and I was going to be able to put her down with that 350 Legend. Well, sometimes things change, right? So went to church Sunday morning, made our usual Costco run after church. That's part of our becoming a tradition. And I'm driving through town at, I don't know, thankfully 35 miles an hour, and boom, grind. It felt like the wheel fell off the truck. So I was able to pull off to the side of the road. And yes, indeed, the wheel did pretty much fall off the truck. An upper ball joint broke loose. And when that happens, you can't drive your truck. Now, I've been driving 50 years in a lot of different vehicles, including a lot of old junkers and jalopies when I was younger. And I've never had that happen, thank God. And thankfully, it happened in town at a slow speed because just the night before, we've been driving south on I-75 coming back from a family party up north, several hours after dark at normal highway speeds. Imagine what if it would have happened then. So I was able to get it fixed. My friends at Garber got me up and running, and I said, look, how does that happen? Why does it happen? Can you see it coming? Can you prevent it? Nope. Just one of those things that sometimes happen. You can't prevent it. You can't look for it. It just happens. So anyway, I was not able to get out hunting, but I do have, hopefully, unless something else, unless I lose a wheel on the other side of the truck, by the time you hear this show, I will have been back out hunting again. It's just a matter of principle at this point that I want to shoot a doe. It's like, how do you go through an entire deer season in Michigan and not shoot a doe? I got friends and buddies knocking down, 6, 7, 8 does, and I can't find one big doe to shoot. But I'm still working on it. Have you seen the pictures online of these big, beautiful Michigan elk that people are putting down in this second? I think it's the last elk hunting season for the year. People, I post these pictures and it amazes me that people say, I didn't even know we had elk in Michigan. Yes, we do. We have a beautiful, vibrant, viable Michigan elk herd. It's just about impossible to get a tag, but they're out there. Which, a reminder, this is, in my opinion, the best way to get an elk tag is to apply for the Pure Michigan Hunt. The deadline for that is coming up, December 31st, $5. You can apply online or at any license agent. You can apply multiple times. And if you win a Pure Michigan Hunt, because there are 3 winners, you get a bull elk tag. Now, I'm going to win one of them. I say that every year, and every year I firmly believe it. And actually, wouldn't it be something if I actually did win it? Because people would say, oh, Avery, you got an in. I don't have an in, but I'm going to win one of those. So there's still 2 spots you can, 2 spots available. Michigan.gov/DNR. Apply for your license there. $5. Some great fishing going on right now. I was doing a behind the mic segment here in the studio before the show. And folks were telling me that Lake St. Clair River is on fire for walleye right now. That Saginaw Bay is on fire right now. The Saginaw River on fire right now. By the way, the river will not close next spring. It'll stay open. That'll be interesting. Also, we were talking about the consent decree negotiations, which is a little change over what we've been working on before. Opens up some area, a lot more gill nets. I feel like the DNR or whoever the state who was negotiating on behalf, I feel like they should have been negotiating on behalf of the sport fishermen. I feel like they let us down on that one. I really do. Very disappointed. Nobody, I shouldn't say nobody. I don't question the tribe's right to be able to fish. But really, I just think we got the short end of the stick on this one. Also, I learned during my behind the mic segment this morning, I must have been really out of touch the last couple of weeks. I don't feel like I have been, but apparently I was. They said, hey, Avery, what do you think of Shannon Lott taking over the DNR? I'm like, Shannon Lott taking over the DNR? Who is Shannon Lott and what happened to Dan Eichinger? I didn't even know this, that the governorette, the woman who was going to fix the damn roads and didn't, who is still in charge. Yeah. Anyway, she moved Dan Eichinger over from the head of the DNR over to Eagle. And Shannon Lott, who was, I think, number 2 at the DNR, has stepped up to become the director of the DNR. I didn't even know that. So people say, what do you think of that? I don't have a reaction to it yet because I didn't even know it. Oh, what else? Even though I haven't been able to get out hunting, I was able to go on a deer track the other day. I got a phone call, said, hey, I shot a buck. We're looking for some help. Can you come on out? I said, absolutely. That is always so much fun. Looking for blood trail, looking for animals. Of course, while you're out there, you get a chance to see all the rubs that are still out there, the scrapes that are still out there. You know, this so-called second rut, this December rut, man, from what I saw the other day, it's going. I mean, there were fresh rubs, fresh scrapes everywhere. That's always a lot of fun, isn't it? What else? We had a wonderful Wednesday night live at Dixie Dave Miner's Restaurant, Oscar and Joey's Roadhouse in Birch Run. Send him off with a big party, a big send-off. That was a lot of fun. Dave will be joining us on this week's show, by the way. Coming up after the break, speaking of this week's show, Chad Stewart of the Michigan DNR talking about our Michigan elk herd, this late season elk hunt, and Paul Perone of VersaSkins. They've got a big sale going until the end of the year. 40% off. Elliot Schaefer of the Michigan Wildlife Council wraps up the first hour. In hour number 2, check in with a friend of mine, good friend of mine, Tim Roller. He used to be a fishing guide on the Manistee River. In fact, one of his clients caught a world record brown trout there maybe 10 years ago or so now, a world record brown trout. He's also an avid deer hunter. I want to talk to him, Tim Roller, about hunting the late season, also about steelhead fishing, how water temp affects steelhead fishing. Nick Green of MUCC will join us as well. We're going to talk about this change in leadership at the DNR and the new consent decree mandate that puts more gill nets out there in the Great Lakes. And then this week's Ask Avery segment, answering some questions that I've had. People ask me. I'm just thinking in my mind here. I might do an audible there and change that up a little bit. And then hour number 3, Josh Mapes of Overdrive Outdoors joins me to talk about predator hunting. Josh is he is a master, especially predator hunting after dark. We'll talk about that. And then wild game chef extraordinaire Dixie Dave Miner will join me once again. And by the way, Dave will continue to join me, even though he's retiring and he's closing the restaurant. He has agreed to join me each week here on the Outdoor Magazine radio show. A reminder, we do a Wednesday night live every night on my social media outlets. That's a chance for you and I to talk directly here on the radio show, right? It's me talking and you listening, and we can't interact. On my live streams, I do a behind the mic every Wednesday morning at 8:45 here from the radio studio. And then every Wednesday night at 7:00, we do a Wednesday night live. We will give away a ham for the holidays right on through the first of the year, courtesy of Nick Grillo of Michigan Brand Meats and the Grillo family. And it's your chance to join me. My website, MikeAveryOutdoors.com. My email address, Mike@MikeAveryOutdoors.com. Feel free to reach out to me. Send me your photos, your pictures, your questions, your comments, your criticisms. Send me your stories, Mike@MikeAveryOutdoors.com. That is the best way to get in touch with me. We'll take a break. When we come back, Chad Stewart of the DNR talking about the Michigan elk herd right here on Outdoor Magazine. Okay, my friends listening on the live stream. Number one, I didn't know about Eichinger and Shannon Lott, had no knowledge of that whatsoever. And then Nick Green just texted me and said, yes, indeed, the new consent decree negotiation does open up for a lot more gill nets. Last I had heard, it was a continuation of the existing decree. Now, Nick has confirmed that, yes, the new consent decree, and we didn't consent to it. I don't know why we call it that, because we didn't consent to it. We got a lot more gill nets out there. So I'm gonna work on those two topics, learn what I can, and let you know what my thoughts are. But thank you for bringing that to my attention. Apparently, I've been living in a bubble for the last 2 weeks or under a rock or something. In my defense, I have been busy on a lot of things. All right, my friends, have a good day. If you can, please join me tonight at 7 o'clock for another edition of Wednesday Night Live. In the meantime, have a great day.